Hi there everyone, I'm Christian Hanley and welcome to Checkmate. This week I wanted to take a moment to talk about the importance of sharing responsibly on social media. And I know that a lot of videos have been done about this same topic before, and it's a recurring theme, but in particular I want to talk about the importance of sharing responsibly on social media in regards to the 2020 election. Just this last week, Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats briefed the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee on ongoing efforts by Russia to hack our elections. And not just hack our elections, but infiltrate our social media to sow dissent and to turn Americans against one another. Now, there's two different prongs of Russia's interference. Part of it is direct hacking, actually going in, stealing people's emails, hacking the electrical grid. We saw this in 2016 during the general election. We've also seen more recently Russia hacking into our electrical grid. But the other side of it that is incredibly important as well is Russia sowing disinformation. Now, the thing with Russian disinformation is that it's not just about choosing a candidate. And in fact, it's a myth, I believe, that Russia is gunning for one particular candidate in any race. They do not love Donald Trump. They love the fact that he creates chaos in the United States and destabilizes our democracy. Well, Russia does this day in and day out. And it's not just Russia, their central government. They actually have hired hackers. They hire people who are based in St. Petersburg mostly, but elsewhere, who will go into American networks, go into social media, go into Facebook in particular, and start fights. And not only do they start fights, but they pretend to be Americans. They start fake Facebook pages. All these things you already know. This has been talked about for almost 3 years now. But what we learned in this past week from the Director of National Intelligence, no less, is that it's not just Russia doing this now. In fact, non-state actors, China, and others may be getting involved because they're watching the fact that Russia can do this, that Russia can meddle in our presidential election, and we will do next to nothing to stop them. And that's where we're at right now. Russia has been interfering in our elections since 2016 and interfering not just in our elections, but in our social lives, in our online lives, in our interactions with one another, and they're not being stopped. Facebook has taken some measures, but they're frankly not enough. Facebook now, for political ads or any ads that weigh in on a matter of public importance, however they define that, do require you to show proof of ID and proof of U.S. residency. As a consultant, I've had to do this to run political ads for my candidates and for some nonprofits I've worked for, where we have to show proof that I am who I am, that I live where I live, and that my clients are doing things that are legal and that, you know, we're showing that they have a certain issue they're speaking out on, and we have to disclose who is funding the advertising to speak out on these issues or on these elections. But that's just a first step. It's just asking to have people who are placing political ads show their ID and show their address, but it's not enough. So that's how flimsy security is right now. So that's sort of the bare minimum that Facebook has done. They've had their own sort of private response to these issues, and really it's just a first step. But on a government level, as far as things that we know, they're not classified, our government under Donald Trump has not done enough to protect our vital systems, public and private, from future attacks. I can't imagine why. But right now we are still vulnerable to Russian attacks. And it's not just attacks in the traditional sense of hacking into private databases, exposing private information, or taking down vital systems. It is also sowing dissent and disinformation. And that's where we are right now. You know, our population was already primed for disinformation. We've had Fox News. We've had these outlets that spread outright lies and get away with it. And Russia has hopped on that bandwagon, and they're better at it. But I bring this up now in 2019, not because any of this is revelatory. These things have already been discussed widely in the news. But I bring these up now because I'm seeing so many Democrats and progressives sharing information on Facebook that is not credible. And not only that is not credible, but that is coming from sources that are highly suspect. This goes along with the last episode, talking about not attacking each other and not attacking each other's candidates. But when we share bad information, disinformation, possible or maybe very real falsehoods, we are part of that attack. We are hurting each other when we use information or false information from strange groups, from strange websites. The concern I have right now is that I'm seeing so many posts, so many shares from well-intentioned, intelligent, very intelligent Democrats, friends and acquaintances These posts that are coming from bogus websites that I've never heard of before. And not just that, but they're coming from Facebook groups that have strange names, that have no faces behind them, that don't seem to be registered to any real person. They have no one's photograph, they have no one's name. They are just these anonymous groups, sometimes with many followers. And the problem with that is that we have no idea who is putting out the information and what their agenda is. And yes, there could be times when these groups are legitimate and they're run by Americans, but that does not mean they're also not doing Russia's bidding. You see, these anonymous groups on Facebook that are putting out inflammatory information or inflammatory disinformation, they are, whether as an agent of Russia or as an independent group of people, either way, they are doing the same thing. They are sowing discord, they are causing fights, they are dividing Democrats at a time when we need to be figuring out our way forward in 2020. You know, right now, we very much cannot afford to have traditional debates and arguments about left versus right. And in fact, there are quite a few conservatives now who, in the age of Trump, have refused to get into traditional partisan fights with their Democratic and liberal counterparts. Why is that? Because they know that right now, our constitutional republic is on the line. We can only have traditional fights over the role of government, over the economy, and over free speech and every other hot button topic, every other social topic. We can only have those if we have a constitutional republic in which to have free debate. Without that, we have nothing else. And don't be fooled. Groups that are out there trying to agitate on social media, that are posting wild, inflammatory, seemingly news stories, that are trying to take down other people, other Democrats, based off of very, very flimsy evidence. They may be American, they may not be. I don't care about that. This is not about nationality or xenophobia. This is about intent. This is about why they are doing this and who they are doing this for. And right now, we have it on good authority from every single intelligence agency that Russia has been doing this since 2016. They're getting more sophisticated, and they're getting more aggressive as they've had no sufficient response from our part. Not only that, but it could very much get worse with more investment and more sophisticated technology. Our Director of National Intelligence is quite concerned that we may be seeing a time in the near future in 2020 when non-state actors or Russia or anyone else following their lead could actually start using artificial doctored audio and video to spread disinformation about people on social media and start fights and sow discord on a whole new level, with a whole different level of credibility as well. So please, our responsibility, all of our responsibility, is making sure that we share things on social media, whether it's about someone we love or hate, or still figuring out about any candidates, any groups. Please do a few moments of homework. Check the sources. See where the post came from. And if the post came from a website that seems all right, okay. But then if a group is sharing it on Facebook, ask yourself, why are they sharing it? What's their motivation? It's not about being paranoid. It's about being a responsible citizen. Because when we share things on social media, we become responsible in part for its proliferation. We are helping to spread it. And all of us at times may have shared things that we've regretted, that we thought maybe wasn't the best thing to share. But now it's not just about being 100% right all the time. That's not what it's about. It's about making sure that we keep falsehoods from spreading, because they are meant to drive us apart, to get us to fight each other, and to weaken our democracy. So please, let's all do our part and just take that extra second to double check.